Welcome to Atlanta Community Profiles, a show about living in Atlanta. Atlanta Community Profiles is hosted by Lou Whelan, who will talk to experts who know this ever-changing city and its real estate industry. We'll talk to mayors, community leaders, and commercial and residential real estate experts. And now, here's Lou Whelan with this week's Atlanta Community Profiles.
Hello there and welcome to our show. My name is Lou Whelan. I publish the official relocation magazines on Atlanta that are distributed by the First Multiple Listing Service of Atlanta. We have 5 publications. We have one for the metro area. We have one for North Fulton that is published in conjunction with the North Fulton Chamber of Commerce, one for Cobb County in partnership with the Cobb Association of Realtors, one for Gwinnett County in partnership with the Gwinnett Chamber, and one for Inside 285. They are available on my website, atlantacommunityprofiles.com. They're also available in all of the, or most at least of all the real estate brokerage firms and chambers of commerce in the metro area at no charge. So please feel free to stop in and pick up a free copy. I'm also a realtor with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Georgia Properties. And if I can help you with any of your commercial or residential real estate, please let me know. My website for that is louwhelan.com. And every week we interview community leaders, and today is my distinct privilege and pleasure to have back to our show Mayor William Edwards, the mayor of the great city of South Fulton. This is your second time on the show, and it's a great honor to have you back.
Great to be back.
Thank you very much, sir. And a lot has happened since you were on the show the first time, but just overview on one thing I wanted to say is on the real estate market, sales were up through this year, through September, 2%. Prices are up 7%, and the average price is $291 in September. Through the year to date through September, and the median price of homes in October of this year was $241, and that compares pretty favorably with the median price in 5 years ago in October of 183. So if you're thinking about investing in real estate, now's a pretty good time to do that. Mm-hmm. And it certainly is a good time to do that in the great city of South Fulton. And Mayor's fantastic. First of all, let me just start by thanking you for your service to the community, Mayor. Sure. I know you've been, in the last year and a half, you've been a very busy person.
Yeah, very busy, very busy.
And it's not easy to start a new city. You know?
It is not. It is not. Starting from the ground, I always tell the story that when I was commissioner for 14 years, the day I became this commissioner, I got up and went to my office and the staff was there and everything. When I became mayor of a new city, I got up that morning and I didn't even have an office or a phone or anything. So it was, when I say from the bottom up, we came from the bottom up.
Mm-hmm. And it was a big city, too, 100,000 population, which I think you're like the 3rd or 4th largest city.
We're the 4th largest city in terms of those who didn't combine. So some cities and counties combined, so that made them larger. Mm-hmm. But we're the 4th or 5th largest in uncombined cities. Okay,
so you are you're native, I guess, of Atlanta, right?
No,
you're not.
I'm from Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Oh, okay.
And I came here to go to college. I went to Morehouse College, and I kind of stayed after that.
Okay. So you were elected as the first mayor in May of last year.
Right.
With over 60% of the population voted for you, which is pretty nice. Pretty hard to find 60% of people voted for anything.
Well, I tell you, it was a field of 9 of us. And of course, there was a runoff, and I was blessed to be elected and supported by the people.
Mm-hmm. So you were on the Board of Commissioners for Fulton County, right? For
14 years on the
14
Board of Commissioners of Fulton County, and I really enjoyed the 14 years being there.
You graduated from Morehouse in 1972.
Mm-hmm.
And in 1980, you graduated from the Atlanta School of Law. So
Sure.
you're a lawyer as
Well, I have a law degree. I always wanted to have a law degree. Being a lawyer wasn't on my list. But I did get that, and great times in the class of 72 at Morehouse. I graduated with someone that everybody knows, and his name is Samuel Jackson.
Wow.
Yeah, so he was a classmate of mine.
And you are a member of the Cascade United Methodist Church.
That's correct.
And you've lived in South Fulton for 30 years.
Probably more than 30 years now, since that's been written, but probably pushing more toward 40 years.
You have 4 grandchildren and 2 children, right?
That's right.
So, anyway, Mayor, it's fantastic to have people like yourself step up to the plate and contribute to the community.
Well, it's always an opportunity, good opportunity for me to tout the good things that are happening in South Fulton County. I mean, South Fulton, Georgia. I'm still got the county in me. But whenever I get an opportunity, because we have some magnificent things going on. We come from no employees to over 600 employees. And that says a lot. Our service delivery is beefing up, and we're about the business of taking care of our constituency.
From 0 to 600?
That's right.
In a year and a half?
Yeah. That's pretty fast.
Hey, that's pretty busy. Now, I'm anxious to ask you about your experience in the process of building a city and starting a city, and we're going to hear some interesting information about the process and what was involved and all. But I'd like to start with giving people a kind of an overview of the city. You have 100,000 people, and because you're such a new city, it's not that easy to get information on your city. Even in Wikipedia, for example, doesn't really have much good information. But you're not even in FMLS in terms of the housing prices.
Well, it seems like some people better wake up because we're doing great in the housing market.
Let me ask you to just do that. Can you just start with giving people an overview of the community just from a macro standpoint, a concept basis? Well,
first of all, once again, we're the 4th largest in Georgia in non-consolidated cities. You had Macon Bibb, where the county and the city joined together, so that makes it larger than we are. But in non-consolidated, we're like the 4th or 5th largest city in Georgia. In the state, in the state of Georgia, right?
The 4th largest in the state of Georgia.
In the state of Georgia, and then as it pertains to Fulton County, we're the 3rd largest city in Fulton County, coming behind Sandy Springs. So that gives you we're talking about 85, 90 square miles of city. The census has us at about 98, but we know that we are somewhere in the area of 106 to 110, because census don't count everybody. So so we have all the makings that we need to have to get us going on. I want to share one other thing with you. We're a very young city.
Year and a half old
in population. You know that our population. Let me give you a fact here. Our population in the city of South Fulton, median age is 33.5.
32.5.
33.5.
Oh, 33.5.
Compared to Georgia, which is 35.3.
Oh, okay.
And the nation is 37.1. So we're a relatively young city. I mean, I'm not young, but
the constituents
are young.
I'm not that young either.
Yeah. So we have a very young city. Our households in 2000, our households were around 15,600. As we go into 2018, the households is 35,392, and anticipated by 2023 to be at over 38,000. So we have the market, we have the growth, we have the people. Share a couple other things with you. Our home ownership Let me share that with you. In 2000 was 68.6. As now it's 66.7. Went down a little bit. But we're still above the Georgia and United States in terms of home ownership.
Mayor, I have to just interrupt you right there because my producers tell me we have to go to a break.
Got to do what the producer says.
So right back after the break.
All right,
stay tuned.
Good.
Welcome back. We're sitting here with Mayor Edwards of the great and new city of South Fulton. And we learned in the first segment that the city is the fourth largest in the state and the third largest, I think, right, in the county. So
non-consolidated cities.
So we're hearing about the demos and the profile, but if you missed any of the first segment, it's on my website, AtlantaCommunityProfiles.com. So if you wouldn't mind just continuing on with that profile,
sure.
Please.
And just to go a little further, you talked a little bit about medium household values. We began our city, the medium household value was $187,000. Mm-hmm. So we come up to, we're just a little bit lower at 183. But we anticipate the state of Georgia is 218, so we're hanging right there. Of course, that was a recession, and some of that has to take care of it. Mm-hmm. So we're very proud of the fact that we didn't lose a lot. But the construction going on in South Fulton is tremendous. Mm-hmm. We have all kinds of people coming in wanting to do homes. My dream for South Fulton in terms of that area is that I want to build a town center. Mm-hmm. I think that is something. The thought in South Fulton has been that you come in, you got plenty of land, you build a house, 2 or 3, 4 acres, a half acre, and then you get as old as I am, and then you figure that I got to come down from this, and so the market that we have does not allow us to go to a ranch, but we're working on that thing, and so that hence a town center with lofts and other things like that would help out with that situation. The other one I want to talk about is medium household incomes, mm-hmm. because that's always been we always been portrayed as they ain't got a lot of money down there, but that's not true. It used to be when we first started $50,395 was the median household income. We've lost down to $54,785, right? And I think once again that's attributed to the recession and what happened during that time. Mm-hmm. But we show an upward trend to do that. Now, our average household income, because medium household incomes, of course, is the high and the low, and you're somewhere in the middle, right. All right? But really, the average household income, we started at $78,244. Now the average household income is $89,653.
Wow, that's a big increase.
That's a big increase. I remember when I first came to South Fulton, as a student or whatever, we were talking about the average household income was probably at $45,000. Mm-hmm. So that's made a heck of a climb, and that's important. You in real estate, that's important when we talk about bringing in new people mm-hmm. To our community. Mm-hmm. They want to look at what is your housing market, how is it looking, what is your income rates, and so I think we're doing a pretty good job. Per capita income was at $28,605. Now it's $29,181. So there's an uptick in that particular deal. Good. Now here's one that I really want people to hear. Okay. It's the educational attainment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's critical.
Very critical. Now, our educational attainment is 91.6, high school.
91.6 have graduated high
91.6,
school.
yeah.
That's pretty good. That's
Compared
very
to
good.
Georgia, was 85.8.
That's good.
Compared to the United States, it's 87. That is very good because of the fact that you don't hear about the education attainment in South Fulton. It's very, very good. We do have high school graduates. That's 91.6%. And we're outdoing both the state and the state of Georgia and the United States. I'm very, very proud of that. The other thing was what we have to do in the educational process too. That we probably in our city, we probably have more people with degrees beyond high school than you could ever imagine. And I think some of that is relevant. And when I talk to you about the incomes that people have of 97.5, we have a lot of that. So we're trying to pull all that together and make a community that people can live, work, and play, and also worship in. And these are some of the things that fit into the pie that make us successful to do that.
So congratulations on 2 recent donations, one from Coca-Cola and one from Georgia Power. And that just was in the last week, I think.
Yes.
Right? So one was for your incubator program, I think.
Yeah. And the incubator program is something that I talked about during my campaign. South Fulton is predominantly made of small businesses. That's what we have. Unlike the North Side, where you have the Fortune 500s and all, we're predominantly small business. And I felt that that assisting small business on how to do business was pivotal, because if we do that, then our retention, pans out. Because one thing to do a business, but you want to keep that business when it comes. So I got this idea. Let's have a business incubator. We can bring in people who are now wanting to be in business but don't know how to, and some of those who are in business but need to learn how to stabilize what they're doing. And I talked with a bunch of folk about it. They all were excited about it, corporations. The first 2 that gave any money was Georgia Power, all right? I mean Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola. And they're doing good. So beyond the financial aspect, though, there are other things that these companies are doing. They're helping to educate small business. They're going to send people in to do to help with classes, to show people how to do business. So it goes beyond the financial aspect. And Coca-Cola has agreed to go further than just the $5,000 that they did.
Okay, so we have a lot to cover today, Mayor. And one thing that I wanted to cover is the parkland, because that's a key thing for a young population like you have. And I think I saw the figure here. You have 97 parks. Is that correct?
We have 17 parks.
17.
With over 17 parks with over 692 acres.
Okay. So, and that includes tennis courts and all kinds of different athletic events. Venues.
But we're gonna have to sort of redo the thinking when it turns to parks. Of course, we got our parks in Fulton County. We're trying to invest more money into parks to bring them up to where they should be. Okay. We're also looking at passive parks to add, in addition to what we have. Because, grandma comes to the park, she loves to be there, sit on the bench, but she don't want the football team running all over her. So she she'd go somewhere in a passive park and sit down and have a nice water feature or something and read or whatever the case may be. So we're looking at things like that. But it's been a challenge, and we're ready. We have a plan we think will enhance our parks.
And I know you have a strategic economic plan. We want to talk about that. But you also have a tax exemption, right, that you offer to businesses. Yes.
We're in this conversation about Fulton Industrial Boulevard. And, of course, we were successful in removing the cap off of Fulton Industrial Boulevard. Now it will be open for anybody, it's actually 2 cities, Atlanta and us, to come in and annex portions. One of the things that we did was the Freeport. It was very instrumental in us doing that. And what it does is goods and services that you have stored in your warehouse or whatever, we don't tax you on those goods. We think it's a second tax, and we don't think it's right. Other cities do. And so we have 100% Freeport.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break.
Okay.
Welcome back. We're talking with the mayor of the city of South Fulton, which is the third largest in Fulton County.
That's
and
correct.
The fourth largest in the state of Georgia. And only a year and a half old and a young population, and with some tax exemptions available. And I just read that you have some new hotels coming, one of which is, I believe, a Marriott. Is that right?
We got our first hotel. That was it. And now we got two others coming.
Okay.
And, of course, we passed the legislation for our hotel motel tax. That's done. So we feel good about the fact that other hotels will be coming in the future.
Mm-hmm. And you have adopted a kind of a marketing concept whereby you are using the
Yes.
slogan "Destination South Fulton." Tell
Yes,
me. About
we hired the economic development director, Mr. Pack, Mr.
I
Christopher
met
Pack.
Christopher.
You met him,
Great guy.
and he's a great guy. We got him from Villa Rica. We steal folk.
Yeah,
They're
I know.
good.
But to get to 0 to 600 in a year and a half,
Sometimes
you've got to do
You just got to dangle the carrot and get people over. But he's done a fantastic job, and so we talked about economic development, and everybody has, Atlanta has their little things that they do in economic development called give them a name. So today we decided we're going to do Destination South Fulton. And a couple of things that we realized that we had to do immediately. One was to get together with and talk about business recruiting and development. Hence, the incubator. All right, business development, recruiting, and also incentives to bring people to. Hence, Freeport, things of that nature. The other thing is that permitting and licenses. We found out that people who did business with us, it was tough to do business with us. You're talking about you come in for a permit and you're looking at a 90-day process. Well, people don't want to hear that. So we have worked to bring that process down. We want to be business friendly for those people who want to do business with us.
And I noticed that you have applied that to zoning changes, too. You're really going out of your way to make it easy to change zoning. So tell us a little bit how you go about doing that, because I know a lot of cities would love to learn from you.
Zoning is...
a lot of business realtors would, too.
Yeah, zoning is intricate. We're doing our comprehensive land use plan now. And I think that is the pivotal part of zoning. That is the pivotal part of zoning. And what it says to people is, if you want to build something in our city, we basically tell you where to build it at. If you're coming in looking for a warehouse, based on the comprehensive land use plan, we'll tell you, you put it over here, okay, where the rest of the warehouses is. Because one of the things we're finding out, people now are putting warehouses next to residential areas.
I know, in other areas.
Yeah, in other areas, and that's not good.
Right.
And so
there's been a lot of complaints about that.
And it also stops a whole bunch of conversation when it comes through the process of zoning. All right, because you got to go through your zoning board. But if you're coming in with your product, you know where it's going to go. It's almost a slam dunk in terms of getting approval.
Yeah. Well, how much undeveloped land do you have available?
Oh boy, lots. I don't know the exact figure, but I guess we probably have anywhere from about 40% or more undeveloped land.
And out of the how many square miles? is the
About
city?
85, 86 square miles.
So, and about how many of that is undeveloped?
Probably majority of it
Over
is undeveloped.
50%?
And it's constantly. Listen, we're the best secret in town.
I know.
I mean, we're only 15 minutes from the world's busiest airport. We have rail. We have the 285 corridor goes around. We have that, and we have land. I mean, just right there, everything you want.
Right.
And so we try to tell people when they come in and talk to us, we're the best secret. We're the best kept secret here, and we have enough land. Land is cheap now. So it's time to buy it. To come out, investors come out and look at it. But we're going to make sure that we take this land, we do it right. We have regulations for what we're doing, and we're going to stick to those regulations and make sure that we do zoning properly.
Well, we don't have a lot of time, but I wanted to talk about price of land in this segment. If we have a minute, we only have a few seconds, but how would you describe the pricing of the land relative to the other areas of town?
Comparatively, I think we're much cheaper. I mean, of course, when you're negotiating land, that's between two people as to what the cost is. But everybody who comes out here, they talk to us about, man, these land costs are very good. And so I don't have the exact numbers, but I think we kind of beat the competition a lot in terms of land price.
Okay. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back. We're talking with the mayor of the great city of South Fulton. He's the first mayor, and city was incorporated about 1.5 years ago. And it's kind of like a phenomenal place if you're looking for land to build homes or businesses. And I heard a speech this morning where manufacturing is very much alive and well in our country, and it seems like South Fulton might be a good place for manufacturing with all the land that you have available.
I think it is, but once again, it goes back to my conversation about the land use plan. If you don't use the land properly, what you wind up and you bring in manufacturing, what you wind up is mixing school buses, cars, trucks together. That's not a good thing to do. If we know where we're going to put certain things, we are not against manufacturing. We're not against warehousing. We're saying to people, we want your business, but you'll likely do better here. Okay. And sometimes, manufacturing causes environmental issues. And if you're having environmental issues, you want to make sure that you properly place it where it won't be harmful to people. And so we want that kind of business. We just want to say, here's where you need to go.
Okay. So I know you have an economic development director, Christopher Pike. He's doing a great job in helping you develop the strategic economic plan, which addresses that topic, zoning, so forth. And what are some of your priorities? Do you have priorities like industries, or how do you do that?
One of the priorities I have is that I really want to build that town center in the city. If I could build one, I think it shows that to people in our city who haven't embraced the idea of density so much that density plays a major factor in bringing businesses to our area, because people want to live closer to where they work, and they don't want to be running all over town getting goods and services. Okay. And so town centers provide that. We want to have a city hall at some point in time. I think we need to have that. Our economic development president, Mr. Pike, is looking at some things now, and we want to have a Fulton County, the city of South Fulton public safety building. But there's so many things that we need to do in terms of enhancement of our cities. Lighting is one. Sidewalks. We want to be known as a smart city, so we're looking at smart city growth as we go forward. We took everybody on a trip about 3 weeks ago. We went to Duluth, we went to Sugar Hill, and we went to Swanee to look at their town center development, how they got it started. And the interesting thing about it is I learned immediately is that one thing you're going to have to do if you're going to look at development like this, you're going to have to buy some land. And when they built these nice city halls and stuff, they built, say, for example, in Sugar Hill, you have 74,000 square feet of retail next to it, and that they built. But that retail is going to help pay the debt service on what they've gotten. So you got to be in control of the land. I learned that very, very fast by going through those three cities. So once we get out looking at what other people have done, how we can do it, how we can change it a little bit, that's important to us.
Mayor, let me ask you a question about that. When you say the city needs to be in control of the land, I know Sugar Hill is buying a lot of land.
Yes, it is.
Are you planning to do that as well? Or how?
Well, the mayor of Sugar Hill is Mayor Edwards.
Right, I know.
He says he's the original Mayor Edwards.
Well, I know. He was the Mayor Edwards before you were Mayor
Yes,
Edwards.
Steve says he's the original Mayor Edwards. That's why I got more so in Sugar Hill than any place. It became a reality to me as I walked around with Steve, and she showed me everything. He has an incubator there too.
I know Paul, the city manager.
Yes. We were all together, and we were able to ask questions and see. But they've done a phenomenal job of getting a development authority, which is what we got to do in the city. We need a downtown development authority or a regular development authority so that we can push the efforts to get these kinds of things going. You can't do them without that. And so I think on our next agenda for the city, we will be talking about creating a development authority.
Okay. So we touched on the Fulton Industrial Corridor over there a minute ago, and I'd like to get back to that just for a second.
Sure.
And you are planning to annex that?
Yes, we are. So, one of the things we had to do, of course, in this election was remove what I call the bubble off of Fulton Industrial Boulevard. Now, that's something that was set many years ago. It simply said that no one can annex Fulton Industrial. So we had to remove that. Okay. The strange thing about it is that the bubble could not be removed just from the people who live in South Fulton. It has to be removed by everybody in Fulton County. So you can imagine, going north, south, east, and everybody had to vote on this. We were blessed that we won, and we won probably about 60% of voting, and then became the Freeport. So now we're able to get in and convince those businesses that they need to come into the city of South Fulton.
Okay, so we don't have a lot of time to talk about that before the break, but when we come back, we want to talk about that in terms of what impact that will have on your city.
Absolutely.
And the types of business. Now, UPS is over there, is that right?
It's in the city of Atlanta.
Okay, that's not in industrial.
That's in the city of Atlanta.
Okay, so
it's on Fulton Industrial Boulevard, but the city Atlanta part.
Okay. So that's nearby, though. It's right.
Oh, it's very
the line.
nearby, along with Charlie Brown Airport. That belongs to the county.
So that will definitely have economic impact.
Absolutely.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back. I'm sitting here with Mayor Edwards of the great new city of South Fulton, and we could really talk all day about your city because what you're doing over there is really monumental. You're really starting a city, a huge city, and you've been doing a fantastic job of it too, Mayor. Congratulations.
Thank you so
and
much.
thanks for all your hard work.
Yeah.
But we're talking now about the South Fulton Parkway Alliance. I want to touch on that, but the Fulton Industrial Parkway and the impact that will have on the city, and the fact that UPS is just opening an unbelievable huge plant right next to you.
Well,
and
that's in the city of Atlanta.
So, but it's right over, the economic impact will be phenomenal in your city.
Before we became a city, we had to do a feasibility study. And that feasibility study did not include Fulton Industrial Boulevard because of the fact that nobody could annex it. So as a result of even not having Fulton Industrial Boulevard, the feasibility said that we could make it, that we were in good shape. And we are, all right? So having Fulton Industrial Boulevard over into our city just increases our tax base. And you're talking about $80 to $90 million worth of taxable income in that area. Also, it's one of the largest industrial areas in the Southeast. And it would be great for us to have, as we talk about land use planning, it would be great for us to have in terms of when we bring those warehouses, when we bring those other things to our city, that Fulton Industrial Boulevard is the ideal spot for it. It's also the home of Charlie Brown Airport, which is a private airport that's owned by the county, but it's in the city limits. And so we're going to fight hard to make sure that those people come into our city. We have talked to a lot of the businesses there, and they said they want to be in the city of South Fulton.
The airport is can accommodate jet engines. But
no, not big jets. Delta can't land there.
Not that,
but you can have your
corporate jets.
Corporate jets come in. They have their hangars. I mean, UPSs have a hangar there, and people like that. So they accommodate people all the time.
Okay. So it's not a commercial. It's
definitely not a commercial
private
airport. I don't think it ever will be because of the citizens around it. They tolerate the commercial, what they wouldn't. I don't think they want a 747 coming in.
The other thing that is really interesting is that the South Fulton Parkway Alliance goes right through your city. That the Parkway and the Alliance partnership. And what do you see happening with that land?
Well, something's happening now, and it ain't good. 40% of the land that goes that's on the Parkway is owned by the city of Union City. And what we find happening now is that Union City is bringing in warehouses, million and a half square foot. And they're building them right next to residential areas, which is causing a major fuss. Now, when I was commissioner, we had the South Fulton Parkway. We said we would have no commercial development past Mason Road. But since the annexations in Union City has come way down the corridor. The traffic is getting tremendous, and we're trying to say, from the Parkway Alliance to my fellow mayors, we're trying to tell the city of Union City, hold up a minute. Maybe we need to develop a regional plan for the Parkway that talks about things like buffers and things of this area. But right now, we're trying to pursue that conversation with the mayor and council. So there's been a lot of fuss going on because we feel that that's too much of a major impact on that corridor. That's a beautiful corridor.
It is.
And if
it's 20 miles, I think.
Right. If you cut back on the buffers, and you're seeing warehouses. I mean, we don't want to be like some of the things we saw up north where you just got warehouses everywhere. They're nice looking and everything, but it adds to not only to the environmental issues, but it adds to the traffic issues. I mean, when I first moved off the Parkway in my home, I could go home, go out of there in about 2 or 3 minutes. I'm out of the place. Right now, I get 2 or 3 minutes just to get on the Parkway. So we're gonna have to sit down and iron that out. And I think a regional plan is the best thing to do.
Thanks for being on the show, Mayor.
Thanks
I'm sorry the time is up. I could talk to you all afternoon about what you're doing over there, and thank you very much for your service to the community.
Well,
Thank you for
letting us
listening. Have a nice day.
All right. Thank you so much.